All right, so after 2.5 years of purchasing this property, all the orchard removal, setting up, getting the soil all ready, getting posts installed, fixing up and installing, getting all ready, the irrigation. It's planting day, first vineyard ever. So to give you a quick update, when we deep ripped all through these rows, we picked up all the what we call the sub-mains, and so got dragged through the whole field and basically completely obliterated all the previous irrigation infrastructure. And so we had to reinstall irrigation, and irrigation is not necessarily like the long-term sort of plan. Everything that we're planting here, we want to try to move towards dry farming, but for the first couple of years, and summers here are exceptionally harsh sometimes. And we know the next couple of years are probably going to get pretty harsh. So we've got irrigation installed, and we ran that overnight to be able to soften the ground for about 5 or 6 hours anyway. And so that enables them to basically plant by hand. So they're up digging every hole literally by hand. Well, at least with a drill anyway. So the grape variety that we're planting for this first block, of course, because it's Unico, has to be Fiano. It's the Savvy clone, so South Australian Vine Improvement clone. So it was brought in, I believe, by the CSIRO quite a while ago. Bigger, bunched clone. The jury's kind of still out because it's fairly early days for Australia and sort of realising what clones are really good or not. But there tends to be a general acceptance that I think VCR3 clone, which is brought in by Chalmers, is arguably a superior clone. But here's me figuring that you can just buy like vines pretty readily. There's like an 18-month sort of minimum wait list. So we've got this sort of blocks that are going all up here, and then up and over this rise will all be the VCR3 clone that's all on order for next year. This here will be Savvy clone, Savvy 03 or something. But of course, yeah, we're Fiano nerds, we're Fiano nuts. So that's what's happening for this first one. Hopefully we don't get frost issues, because this is a bit of a frosty site here. So we'll be tackling that in due course. Now you make it look easy.
Yeah, especially with the drilled holes.
Bit of a quick little update here as well on the far block, where hopefully, if we get approval, we can build a fun little cellar door space plus the market garden. So we've actually levelled out sort of, well, we couldn't completely level out the whole site, mainly because of the sheer quantity of earth that would need to be moved. And like I said, it's not, I don't ideally want to be moving so much earth, and equally where we live, you kind of legally can't, for good reason as well. So we've just seeded this with a cover crop of some kind of like wheat-based grass, just to be able to get something on top of the topsoil, so we don't sort of lose too much to atmosphere. And that's growing pretty well, considering we don't actually have or haven't had much rain. We really need rain badly. So far it's been very, very dry, hence a lot of the frost pressure. There's been a couple of even fires already within the area, but this is all good news. This is all starting to shoot up now, so a lot of clover. So we really, really want as much clover as possible, mainly because of nitrogen cycling and fixing. We've actually seeded a lot of the block over there with sub-clover as well, amongst the cover crop, just to get it established. Bit of a thing that we kind of missed with this block over here was actually weed control. We haven't actually done anything about sort of weed control, as you would notice in some of the shots of the Fiano sticks going into the ground. Is there's still like a lot of weeds along the interrow. We decided not to spray them because we're going for organic certification across all of what we do. And I realise for the most part we can still get away with that some sort of weed control on that front. We're very wary about introducing anything new to the site when we have the chance to not have some sort of like baggage of legacy or anything like that. So we are looking very closely at non-copper sprays, copper being a heavy metal, as well as more like no-till methods of controlling weeds. One of the big ones is actually mulch, which probably is how we're going to go about it for this block sort of initially, until we can look at some sort of like undervine mower or something, just getting as much like permanent sward established between all the vines here. But if we do get approval and we do build over here, one day you will be able to come down and check out this block. It'll be the block that basically every customer gets to see, which is our first block, which means it's going to have all the mistakes in it. Yeah, so you get to see all our mistakes. Cool. In other news, I actually tried weeding everything by hand, and it took me about 2 hours to run through just 6 short rows. So turns out that's actually not a good idea. And I just ended up with like massive piles of just weeds. It seems like the ability for this site to be able to just like grow stuff because it's quite fertile, really good schisty soil, really good topsoil, very fertile. Yeah, it just grows shit like wildfire, which means it grows weeds like wildfire. And weeding by hand, literally pulling things out by hand, it's a dumb idea. It probably can't be done unless labor cost is like nothing, and the cost of repairing my back is equally nothing. But absolutely stoked to be starting to plant the vineyard this morning.